well, welcome back to another Monday show here at Midwest Whitetail. Today's December 18th, which is opening day of the late muzzleloader season, along with the second split of the archery season here in Iowa. So best of luck to all of you who are hitting the woods. Hope you have a fantastic finish to your deer season. And before we jump into what this episode is all about, I want to take a quick second to thank each and every single one of you who left comments, spent the time to watch last week's show. You know, Caleb's chase, we knew it was a good one. We were very excited to share it with you, but the overwhelming support that followed from all of the people that watched it, it's been pretty overwhelming, and I know I speak for everybody when I say we are super thankful for it. So just wanted to give you guys a huge shout out for that. It means a lot to this team. And moving forward to this episode, there's a person that we're going to talk about today that means a lot to this team. Gavin Koterba, he is one of the hardest working individuals I've ever got the chance to meet. Started to work with him back in the 2021 season when he was an intern. He got a full-time job at Midwest Whitetail. And now, as I've mentioned before in past episodes, he's the one that's building your Monday episodes. He's the one building the Chasing November series. And he is a large part of what we do here at Midwest Whitetail. But today, we finally get to share his biggest buck ever story, and it's one that you don't want to miss. So I'm going to pass it over to Gavin. He's going to walk us through his public land journey, and one that ultimately ends, like I said, in his biggest buck ever.
Well, thanks again for joining us. You know, like Josh mentioned, it's incredible to see the amount of support for Caleb's episode. Couldn't think of a more deserving guy than Caleb. He put in a ton of work this entire season, and it was awesome to see that one come full circle. Today I'm going to walk you through the story of the 6x5. He's my first buck here in Iowa and biggest buck ever. It's an awesome series of events that ultimately led to tagging this buck, and I couldn't be happier with him. So, you know, at the end of the day, there was a lot of twists and turns along the way. I'm a new bow hunter when it comes down to it, and so there's lots of lessons that I'm hoping to convey to you guys that I took away from this season. So this story starts in 2016 actually. When I got my first bow, it was a Hoyt Power Max. I still love that bow to this day. And really from there, the passion for hunting took off. You know, I come from a family of hunters, and they ultimately got me into it, but really getting that first bow is what hooked me into it. And I've been obsessed ever since. So ended up killing my first deer in 2017. It was a nice basket rack 8-point. His main beams actually touched, which was pretty cool. Fast forward into college, I find some public land nearby school, you know, 10, 20 minutes away, easy to get to. And I actually, you know, made some of my class schedules around being able to get more time in the woods. So I was able to spend a couple days a week out there scouting, learning these areas, and ultimately failing a lot along the way. And really from this whole ordeal, starting to hunt public land, I realized how much scouting and putting your time in is really what ultimately makes it pay off. I killed my second buck in 2019, and with that, the desire, the drive to want to be out there more, keep learning new things, learn about deer, was just fueled even more with that buck. And so coming out of college, I got really into wildlife photography. I loved taking pictures of deer and turkeys and birds or anything. And really that drove that passion for the camera side as well. And so these two things are kind of increasing at the same time. And I knew about the Midwest Whitetail internship and thought, why not give it a chance and apply? And sure enough, I got accepted as a spring intern in 2021. So, you know, it's always a struggle learning a new skill, editing and filming, but the guys, the other interns, the employees, they all made me feel super welcome. And so I couldn't be more blessed to be a part of this group that we still get to be a part of. Rye, in fact, he was an intern with me, and he and I are super good friends, along with the rest of the interns in my class. So again, just nothing short of a blessing. Two of the other interns, Matt Garger and Ethan Stubbs, those two and I, one day in the summer of our intern year, decided to go out and scout a piece of public land that we had just found on Onyx. You know, it looked like a great spot from the map for the fact that it didn't have a lot of parking areas around it, and it looked like it had that habitat that would hold a good number of deer. And really that's one big thing that I've come to look for over the years of hunting public, is finding those areas that there's not a lot of parking lots around that people can access from multiple directions and get into the heart of the property. This spot has one main access, and it's a lot harder. You got to cross some water to get into it. Decided to go out and scout that day, and found some great stuff, some great sign, great potential stand locations, and especially one that really stuck out to me was this major crossing in between two bedding areas. It's basically a river in a slough. They come together at a perpendicular angle with 2 bedding areas on either side, and there's a crossing right next to the river. And so there's great stand location opportunities for 1, and 2, there's just cow trails. I mean, deer going through there all the time. Between our filming responsibilities and editing responsibilities, Ethan and I, on November 16th, I think, got out and we were able to get a hunt in one morning. No sooner did we really get set up and settled in, and this stud, absolute stud of a buck that I had a few pictures of in there, comes right in. Shoot him. No, you hit your arrow on something.
Well, Gavin and I woke up early this morning and came to a public spot that we actually scouted this summer, and we had just a giant deer come in on us. And he just kind of caught us, and we weren't ready. And I had the camera, and Gavin he couldn't get a shot around me. And he blew out of here real hard and kind of blew up the area. So hopefully we can be back in here soon before November's over. This is an awesome spot for cruising, and looking forward to the next one.
You know, unfortunately, it didn't work out. We really didn't set up the greatest for a shot, but of course, he's right there in bow range, and we just have to watch him run right out of our lives. So definitely a bummer on that one. But at the end of the day, you know, we took away the fact that scouting paid off. It's always important to put that time in. You know, you're making an educated guess at the end of the day, but in that case, it worked. It was one of those spots that, again, just stuck out so well. It's like they have to go through this area. 2022 rolls around. I'm now a full-time employee. Decide to branch out on some new pieces of public, just put more feelers out, try to find new targets. And no sooner does the season roll around than I get this giant buck, absolute giant buck on camera. Put some hunts in for him, ended up encountering him on the 25th of October. And that was just absolutely gut-wrenching to see how that one went. You guys probably saw the blog for that, seen it on Chasing November. And again, just crazy. It still haunts me to this day. Hunted him throughout the rest of the year, was never able to get another encounter, let alone an arrow released at him. But it was awesome to not only try out a new piece, but also hunt a giant deer on public land. And really what it comes down to is I love branching out. I love trying new spots, trying new things. And that's one thing that public land, you know, offers you, is the ability to just kind of send it, for lack of a better term, and try things that you wouldn't otherwise be comfortable to do on a piece of private where you wanted to stay out of a specific area, which I, like anybody, find myself doing on the permission pieces that I hunt. But it's just one of those things that in public, you're just like, well, anybody can come hunt this, so I might as well give it my all. All this time, I still had a camera, 2 cameras actually, in that other piece of public that Ethan and I had that encounter in. There was this bladed 8 that we had on camera. The intern year, he showed back up, but also lots of other great young bucks that I was really looking forward to, hopefully showing up the following year. So wasn't able to obviously punch a tag last year, but this year rolls around and I'm thinking, man, this, between all of the, not only permission ground, the public ground that I've spent a lot of time on learning the deer movement patterns, I've got a ton of information that hopefully will get me in the right position. Spend some time shed season, going through these areas more. I love to just, again, branch out and continue to grow the areas that I'm familiar with on these pieces of public specifically. The summer rolls around and now I'm engulfed in Chasing November. It's an incredible opportunity that I got afforded to me to work on that series. Dragos Cruci, he was a new intern at the time, and he was working with me throughout the summer, as well as, you know, learning the ropes as an intern. And so he and I finally, once Chasing November was released, got the chance to get some scouting done. And so he and I spent an entire day out on the public pieces, made a full day of it, like I said, hoping to get ready for the upcoming year. Well, here it is, August 31st, and it is the official start of my 2023 deer season. This is a spot I've hunted a little bit in the past. If you guys saw the encounter that Ethan and I had back in our intern year, we're gonna be hanging some ox grapes, as you can see. I've cut these vines from my house, brought them over here. We've got just a few spots to hang. I know some scrapes that already exist, so we're gonna hang a couple cameras on those as well. So we're not too far from this first spot here. We're gonna hit a bunch of different areas today. Got lots to do, so we're gonna keep moving. Probably the most important things when it comes to these cell cameras is taking your time to get the position right. And the nice thing is you can obviously have them just sending right to your phone. There's nothing worse than getting back and you get your first deer picture and it's pointing, way higher or something than you want. So just a little tip, always take your time when you're doing these.
There's a lot more acorns on this one.
So we get these cameras hung, September rolls around and I get the opportunity to go out to Montana to do some filming. It was an incredible, incredible experience. I mean, breathtaking. My first time out there in Montana, got to drive through the Badlands. I mean, just an incredible experience from that perspective. While I was there though, I think on September 6th, I got a picture from one of the public land cameras and there's this giant buck, this mainframe 6x5 that shows up. Generally, I don't have many good bucks showing up in there until closer into October. The crops get cut and they move into the river bottom areas, but he was showing up and was really consistent right into September. And so excitement was at an all-time high as season rolled around. I go in the day before season, September 30th, by myself. It was a real hot, muggy day, like 15-mile-an-hour winds. Decide to just slowly sneak my way back in there and look for a couple spots to set up for this deer.
This tree right here will make a good spot for a south wind, which is what we've got today. It's blowing straight back into that open area that I walked through. There's a few black oak trees and a couple bur oaks that I can see. You can tell that the deer are just feeding in here a bunch, so it's a little slanted, but it's in the right spot, so this one might be a good one.
So I find two really good stand locations, not too far apart from each other. And while I'm in there, I'm noticing, I just hear leaves crashing and it's acorns falling out of the trees. There's quite a few bur oaks in that little area and they're just dropping acorns like crazy. You guys have heard Mike talk about the fact that the acorn crop this year was just incredible. And it was the same thing out here on this piece of public. Granted, there weren't a ton of them, but they were clearly a location where deer were gonna be concentrating in, and you could see where they were stepping and moving the leaves around and stuff to find the acorns. And so I knew, okay, this is for sure gonna be a good spot. October 4th rolls around, again, excitement at an all-time high, and we decide to make our first sit out on the public next to one of these scrapes that the 6x5 was the most active on. Well, it is October 4th today, and this is our first sit on the public land after this 6x5. He's been the most consistent deer that I've had so far, really the biggest one. I believe him to be a deer that I know from last year. Had a few pictures of him here and there. Actually got some pictures of him with another buck that I was hoping to see this year, right at this scrape that we're set up over. We're set up on the ground. As you can tell, there's this real nice deadfall. We're sitting around a bunch of oaks that are dropping acorns like crazy. The acorn crop is crazy this year, so hoping for him to come by this scrape tonight, coming to eat some of these acorns. So we'll see. Hopefully tonight goes well. I can just barely see him. She's right there. We're gonna be in the money in that stand, I think. Well, it's starting to get dark now. It's like 7 o'clock almost. Started off seeing that good 3-year-old buck that I've got a bunch of pictures of. He's just a beautiful 10, clean 10. We were watching him and then I just turn around. There's a doe and a fawn behind us. Definitely a good sign the deer were in here hammering these acorns. Feel decent about what we got to come here. Fast forward to the weekend, there was an upcoming cold front, first one of the year, and so decided to make the move to sit one of those stands that I had scouted. Got skunked, of course, that first time we were out. The following day, we just see a couple does sitting out of that same spot again. but I knew that it was just gonna be a matter of time before we were sitting that spot, and sure enough, he shows up. And so it was just keep hunting smart, keep being consistent in there as much as possible, hunting the right conditions, and hopefully get a shot opportunity at him. So that following week, just decided to spend time in the office. You know, in the fall, I'm of course doing the main show and everything. And so the primary responsibility is always getting the show done, getting all these other responsibilities done. The 14th is gonna be an awesome day. The forecast is showing. And so we're looking forward to getting back into that stand. The 6x5 at that point wasn't showing up a ton on camera and was a little uneasy about that, but even so, just wanted to pick our opportunities right, play the right conditions, and hopefully again, get a shot at him. I decided to bring a stand in with us, but I left it halfway, and reason being was I was looking forward to hunting that crossing spot that I explained earlier the following day. That spot generally heats up a lot, that mid-October into late October range, and so I was really looking forward to that spot. And in turn, looking ahead, decided to, again, leave the stand there and just set up on the ground. And of course, looking back, it would have been better to set up in the stand, but at the end of the day, just went with my gut and thought that was the right decision. So we sneaked back into that same little area that we were hunting, and we were hopeful that this was gonna be the day that the 6x5 finally showed up. All right, it's October 14th. We had this second cold front of the year come through. This is that same little area that we were hunting last week, back on that first cold front. Basically just one of those deals where we're hoping to be the camera rather than get in the picture tonight. So we're in here, we're in the absolute thick of it. Hopefully we have a good sit tonight. Dragos, he's coming around to the right. Don't move. That deer's big. He's gonna come out here. Hey, he's gonna come out here. All right. No idea. He like just ran 30 yards and then he's like kind of hunched up and like just slowly walking. I couldn't see him after the shot. Yeah. Holy smokes, dude. Bro, he's big. He's big. Oh my gosh.
So here's what I'm gonna say off the rip. If you stop after 20, and he hunched up and walked off, back up.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about it. Get out of there. It's liver at best. Right?
Yeah.
Treat it worst case scenario.
Right.
Treat it liver gut.
Right.
Bro, you got in the belly of the beast.
Dude.
Ow.
Hi, buddy.
I'm nervous, man. We got a computer over here too.
Well, I mean, being honest, we're not gonna be able to tell anything off that, so.
Yeah.
The best part about anything is that you watched them. Like Bryce said, I think we're just gonna have to go in there and take it slow.
When you don't know, what do? Play safe.
Yep.
Without being able to see any sign of where the arrow impacted the deer in the video, we decided to wait till the next morning Josh and Rye were nice enough to join me, and we went out hoping to find some sort of sign around the site of impact to help point us in the right direction. We get up to where I shot him, and we quickly realized that he was a little bit further than where I had initially ranged, and so with that information, we looked around and found no sign of him, no blood, hair, anything. We did find the arrow buried in the grass, and all we saw was a little bit of blood on the fletchings, and so with all this information, decided to get a hold of a tracking dog now that it's legal in Iowa. And a gentleman named Travis and his dog Allie were nice enough to meet us out there and help try to track again that afternoon.
Going this way, he bounds off that way, he stops. Come on, this way.
Well, it's about 5 o'clock now. We tracked for a solid 2.5 hours, I think. And first of all, Allie did a great job. It was fun to watch her work, but you know, we went in a couple circles and didn't turn up anything, not a drop of blood, which is just super surprising. And you never know, they can close up pretty quick. Definitely feeling not great. I came into this track feeling a little more optimistic, but you know, there's a lot to learn at the end of the day, but you know, going forward, we're just gonna hope that he shows up on camera. You know, I feel fairly confident that he will. You know, after that, if he doesn't in the next couple of days, probably plan to come back out and continue the search some more. So we'll see what the next few days bring. So, as you can tell, total bummer. I mean, it almost came together. We were that close. He read the script absolutely perfectly, and at the end of the day, just didn't make a lethal shot, a great shot. Done a lot of reflection on that at this point, and you know, some of the bigger takeaways are making sure that you range every little spot that you possibly can, making sure that you take the time as he's coming in to pay attention to his trajectory and range those spots where he's going to end up, those lanes where you're going to potentially get a shot at. I also took away the fact that it's so important to have good friends, somebody that you can call to help you work through the situation. You're obviously super amped up after a shot. I specifically am. I get real shook up. And having guys like Ryan and Josh specifically to hop on the phone with, hey, just get out of there. Let's just evaluate the situation. In that case, we obviously have the footage, even though we couldn't see the shot. But regardless, we were still able to take that step back, assess the situation, and make a good game plan from there. Obviously, had the privilege of having the dog come out. Big thank you to Travis and Allie for making the long walk back there with us and giving it our all. And from that point, you know, we felt very confident that that buck was still alive. No blood, no beds, no sign of him at all. And it was actually 8 days later on October 22nd, and he shows up in daylight, of course. A beautiful picture, he's hitting my scrape. And I mean, just such a sigh of relief that not only did he make it, that he looked healthy, but also that I was able to still continue the chase for him. So late October rolls around, we had that timely cold front that everybody was able to find some sort of success on. We go and decide to sit that crossing stand a couple times. We had this brand new buck that I'd never gotten a picture of, comes running in with a couple does, comes to 35 yards, right through my one shooting lane. It was awesome to see him, got some pretty cool footage of him. The 6x5 was still on camera, here and there, not super consistent, but enough to show that he was still in that area, and he looked really healthy, and I was excited to continue getting after him. I also had that bladed 8 show back up for the 3rd year in a row, and was hoping to finally get a crack at him as well. November 1st rolls around, and we decide to make a switch. We had been sitting that crossing stand a couple times in a row, and that brings me to this stand that we call the duck pond stand. We decided to sit it that afternoon. It was one spot that I had found back on September 30th. Didn't find the exact tree that we ended up sitting out of, but it was right in that general little location. Essentially, this area is just right along the edge of this major willow thicket. I mean, it's got to be 60, 70 acres, something like that. and I know that deer have to be bedding in there. I didn't realize how many were until we started sitting it multiple times, but just that main line of edge right there, there was some open hardwoods with the acorns right next to us as well. And so I figured that had to be a good travel route where they were hooking around that little duck pond, going in and out of that bedding area and heading towards some other bedding areas. So we decided to sit it the next morning and encounter another great younger buck. And all this time, having deer come by the stand and whatnot, I'm really trying to focus on what to do if that were the buck that I'm trying to shoot, making sure that I'm ranging every single time, making sure that I'm going through my shot progression in my head, trying to work through the situation objectively and not let my emotions get the best of me. From there, continuing again to just hunt when I can in between work responsibilities. And then quickly, the first week of November is here and gone. And so we decide to return to the duck pond stand. It again sets up great for a south wind. And we have that wind going into the morning of November 11th. And so we decide to slip in there, do a hang and hunt, and hope that, again, one of these target bucks is gonna come out and hopefully give us a shot. It's November 11th today. We came in here to this, we're calling it the duck pond set because it's right next to this old dried up pond or something. This spot is right on the edge of the big bedding area. We actually hunted it 2 days ago. Inside of it, way on the other side of this thicket. A lot of the deer hopefully will be coming in and out of here looking for does. Feels like any day now we're gonna encounter this 6x5. He's been decently active in here. Hopefully it's a good morning. Do you see him? Yeah. He's tearing up that tree. That deer's giant. That's that bladed 8. He's got me shook up a little bit, just a little. Man, that was awesome. What a beautiful deer. So what an incredible encounter. I mean, he scraped for a good 10 minutes. I mean, it's one of those things that's hard to get across in the footage, but just sitting there and he's just working this scrape pretty much in bow range. It was just crazy to sit there and witness. After the fact, I actually talked with Mike about the encounter, about the situation, and he proposed the idea of sending out a little snort wheeze in that situation. You know, he's had a lot of luck doing that on the river farm, in those areas where deer can't necessarily see super well on the ground level, and just a light snort wheeze could potentially bring them in. If nothing else, just pique his curiosity, get him to step 10 yards towards us and potentially get into bow range at that point. And so that was kind of in the back of my mind, thought, you know, he was with a doe, but that certainly could have worked in that situation, him being a more older, dominant buck. So November 22nd rolls around, we decide to sit the duck pond stand again. And at this point, we're continuing to hunt it just because of the fact that we're having great encounters every single time we sit it. We're able to access it cleanly, not spooking deer. And again, just continuing to have great hunts. And so it's one of those things where it's like, it's gotta be just a matter of time before it actually happens. We go in, sit that afternoon, have an incredible encounter with that buck that we encountered on the 4th, that first sit where we were sitting on the ground. A few days go by and we have this cold snap that comes through Iowa, brings plummeting temperatures, rising pressure, and some snow. And so it's always exciting, especially in November, getting to hunt with the snow on the ground. And with that, you know, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that food is gonna be a little harder to come by and they're gonna wanna be moving a lot more to try to get on this food. The duck pond stand is a perfect situation for that. They're coming out of the bedding area, looking in that little staging area for food and working off to the ag fields. And we have the right wind, we have the right conditions. And on November 28th, we end up getting out there.
is November 28th. Back out on the public in this stand that we've been hunting a lot now. This is this duck pond stand that we call it. We've got some snow on the ground. As you can see, it snowed, I think, 2 days ago. And it's been really cold the past couple days. It's really had these deer on their feet. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get out just with having to do work, but last night I got pictures of that 6x5 coming into this bedding area with a couple does. And so I'm guessing that there might be a hot doe in here. Lots of bucks moving around. Something's got them all stirred up, so that's what you'd think it is. It's a beautiful day. Pressure is falling, but it's still in the 30.2 range, something like that. South wind blowing straight back the way we came. It's a great spot. It's a great day. We can see a ton, especially with this snow. It adds a ton of contrast so that you can see things like squirrels and birds and deer, obviously, moving around really well. So noticing a lot of movement going out of this bedding area towards ag fields at night, so we're hoping to key in on that. And also, like I said, if this hot doe wants to come by, there's a deer right there, actually. Anyway, we're gonna get quiet here. We got a little buck on his feet already, about 50 yards away, so hopefully the action continues. Here they come. Well, it is about 3:15. It's starting to get a little chilly now that we're all settled in. It's been really action-packed sit so far. For only being just after 3 o'clock, we've already seen 6 deer. And I don't know, I just have a good feeling about tonight. I feel like that won't be the last of them. What's interesting is all these deer that we've seen have been up looking for food, and I think that's why they're up so early. With this snow on the ground, it's covering up all their browse, and so they have to quote-unquote work for it. I feel like we are still in the money. We'll see. Hopefully the 6x5 gets on his feet soon. Buck coming from the right, following them. Dude, it's a 6x5. What? It's a 6x5. It's walking on the right. another little buck right behind him.
Maybe he chases the little buck towards us.
I don't know.
Deep breaths, buddy.
Man, man, I figure we had a really good chance of seeing him. I feel like I should try to snort wheeze at him.
I didn't really see a change in his body language at all.
Okay. Turn this way. Here he comes.
I'm damned I can't drop the camera.
Okay, put it back on.
No, I have to get the strap off my neck and don't worry about it, I got it. Just shoot him. He's covered, I'm good.
Stay on him.
Yep.
Dude, I thought I got him decent, but
Doesn't look like he's carrying the arrow. I lost him.
well, I don't even know what to say. That was wild.
6x5.
6x5, man. I don't know what to think about that, man. The left and right looked good. It's just a touch low, I think. I don't know. It still is a 2-inch cutting diameter, so I don't know. I'm just so shook up right now. I can't even think these deer are just still feeding right here behind us, but we're gonna have to look back at that and make a decision. Oh, man, shook up bad. Oh, the 6x5, dude. Dude.
The Phantom, man.
Oh my gosh, dude.
I'm trying to hold the camera still. Look, it's shaking to me.
Man, Travis and I are shook up bad. We're gonna have to look back at this footage and see, but I don't know. I'll keep you posted. And then his head goes behind the trees like Travis. I think I might try to smoke these out, just see what happens. And just let out with my mouth, just like kind of soft. And he puffs up, pins his ears, dude. He barges.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's a dead deer, man. You're high enough, I think.
I hope so.
To any of you who love Midwest Whitetail ever since 2008, and you can think back on all the people who have played a amazing role in its continuation and, you know, growing the show and the editing, and, you know, there's so many names that probably come to mind for you. I really hope that Gavin Koterba comes to your guys' mind. Oh my gosh. Dude, I am shaking. Like I just killed. Question is, how much penetration is there? Half the arrow? So the white right here we're looking at
So that little,
is going to be
that little dash.
this dash. That's enough to get through a cavity into the offside shoulder.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we could treat it the same way we did.
Just go see
If we find blood,
Yeah.
follow it. If we don't, I tell you this, I feel a lot better about it.
Yeah.
I
Well, it's
mean,
nice that you can actually see it.
the penetration is the part that's like, doesn't matter how you skin that, that's in the cavity.
Right.
And where you're at's not too low.
Yeah. Well, we made it up here to the site of impact. Stands right here. I believe he was standing right here, bounded that way. And the last we saw him was about, I don't know, 100 yards or so away. So I was able to watch him a good ways. So we have a general idea. I actually marked a pin on Onyx of about where he was when we last saw him. So gonna just kind of follow, take it slow, see if we can find some blood here. Here we go, I got blood. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We're a step ahead.
Well, we just got a few specks of blood. I mean, with the arrow being lodged in him still, you don't expect a ton of blood. It would have been nice to have it pass through, you just have a carpet, but this is definitely the way he went, so.
I expect it to open up.
Yeah,
as we
yeah, right. But should find a spot where he stopped up there and go try to find it. Oh yeah. Sprays right there. He would have stopped somewhere in here. Somewhere around here.
I think that's where he stopped. You have the bed? Oh, you're looking at?
It's a fresh bed. It's still going.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. We just back out until broad daylight.
Well, we tracked, I want to say 150, 200 yards, something like that. Found good blood at first when he was running, and it slowly just kind of trickled to a stop at that point. So it's always an adventure out here on this public, that's for sure. So we're going to give it till the morning, kind of talk to some people and see what everybody else says, and potentially get a dog if it comes to that. But of course there's no exit hole for him to bleed out of, and yeah, certainly not your ideal situation, but we will get her done one way or another. It's certainly going to be a sleepless night, that's for sure. Well, it's 9:06. We're back out basically where the last bit of blood was. And again, I mean, the arrow is still in him. Last night, as far as we could tell, we haven't found it up to this point. And so easily could just be clogging everything up in there, and that's why we're not finding so much blood. But we're back basically where our last pin on Onyx was for the last blood. So we're just gonna look around. He's definitely heading in this direction, it seems like. See if we can't pick back up on him. I think I have blood, Josh. There you go. Yeah, I got it here. Man, he's just going in a circle. Dude, literally, this is where we just walked in. Yeah. Well, this is getting pretty interesting. We were basically right where we walked into the spot at. We followed it back to my left, made a big circle around, and now we're coming. I mean, where we left the game card is right there. He's clearly going into this willow thicket, which, I mean, they love bedding in these willows, so looking for a good place to hide, you know?
A couple of things at this point. 2 beds.
Yeah.
And the blood has started to pick. It's not anything you'd want to see.
Right,
There's
but
no
it's
doubt about that,
consistent.
but it's consistent. And the strangest part is it's on his left side.
Yeah, which would be the offside.
Offside. I mean, we're not finding blood on the right side with the arrow. So hopefully that arrow's popped through and that's what we're getting. Like we talked about in October, let the blood tell you what it's telling you. And I mean,
Yeah.
what are we at now? Technically probably 300 yards on the track.
As far as, yeah, foot time.
Here. Here.
Yeah, yep, right there. Right here, this one.
Check that out.
Right here. We got it. Yep, let's go. Yeah, there's a decent little bit here. Yeah. Dude! Yes! Dude! You found him, buddy! Dude! You got him!
Okay, put your boat up. Give me a freaking hug.
Good job, man.
Good job, buddy.
Got him!
Congratulations.
Let's give you some five. Oh my gosh. Come on, give me some sugar, Dad. You can just sit here and move over here. Let's go, buddy. I don't even know.
Hold on. Somebody needs to get a call right now.
Yeah, Mr. Rye.
Mr. Rye.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, dude? Are you kidding me?
It was nuts.
Dude.
Gavin did it, buddy.
I can't even believe it.
Pin drop blood.
Don't put your hands on that thing.
I'm shaking bad, dude.
That's okay.
Guys, thank you so much. Seriously.
Thank you.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. What a hammer, man.
Can you even believe it?
Yes. How much you try? This is it.
It's unbelievable, man.
Dream. Big.
That is the dream right there.
Culver Clan stud.
I can't even believe it. Well, we just flipped him over to get him field dressed. We're still right here where he died. And my entry was pretty much right behind the shoulder, but the arrow must have kicked quite a bit because it's dang near mid-body where the exit is. I don't think it's, in fact, I can feel the tip of my arrow right there. So it's just kind of poking through.
That's
But
where we were getting the exit.
Somehow it deflected that much. I can't even believe that.
Think about that though. See how it's dropping?
Yeah.
That's what we tracked.
Yeah, because it was on that.
The whole
Was that
time
the
it was the left side.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, it was good and cold last night, so I decided to get him back out for some pictures this morning, get him off to the processor afterwards. But man, I mean, what could be a better way to cap off this season? This is just an incredible buck, my biggest buck ever, first bow buck in Iowa. It still feels pretty surreal, so gonna soak this one up for a while for sure. And you know, at the end of the day, I can't thank the team enough that we have around us. It's a blessing to be a part of such an incredible brotherhood, an incredible team here at Midwest Whitetail. Man, I just can't thank everybody enough, from Josh, Rye, Caleb, Owen and Mike, all of the interns and the entire Midwest Whitetail team. I mean, again, just such an incredible brotherhood that we get to be a part of, and just super, super blessed. We obviously got a crack at him in mid-October, and about 12 to 14 days later, I think, something like that, he actually showed back up on camera. He was in daylight, of course, and he looked just fine. He was hitting the scrapes immediately, so I'm thinking I must have nicked just the underside of his belly, because we couldn't find any sort of wound or anything on him that indicated where I might have hit him the first time. So pretty crazy story from that perspective, just being able to get a second chance at the same deer on a piece of public land that's pretty dang big. The story behind this one is just truly incredible. Couldn't be more grateful for everybody around me and for the incredible opportunity, the dream that I got to chase coming out here as an intern and now as an employee. So, and again, just wanted to say a big thank you to all of you viewers. We couldn't do what we do without you, and it just makes all of this so much more special to have such great support from all of the viewers. So big thanks to you, and hopefully we can get back after another one here soon. So as you saw, I mean, completely emotional after that one. Such a long time coming, and for it to pay off the way that it did, getting to capitalize on the buck that I had gotten a shot at earlier in the season. It of course wasn't a perfect hit, and a lot to be taken away from that, but at the end of the day, we got him, and I could not be happier. Biggest buck to date, super proud of him. I mean, he's just pretty. I mean, look at him. But you know, going forward, we've got late season right around the corner. It actually starts next week. The team's ready to get out in full force. We've already had some great action during shotgun season, and we're excited to bring those shows to you coming up here soon. And then again, late season right around the corner. Hopefully we have some great conditions on the way, and the team can keep the train rolling. So really appreciate you joining us. It's been an awesome story to share, to live, and I hope that you guys took away something from this. From my experience, I'm always learning. I'm a new bow hunter, like I had mentioned, and hopefully some of these things can help you out in any of your situations. So can't thank you enough, as always, and we hope to see you back next week.